Welcome to Santa Clarita Weekly, where we cover all things local in Santa Clarita Valley every Saturday morning at 9 on KQRU 107.9. Join hosts Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty as they uncover the latest news, events, sports highlights, and more, keeping you connected and engaged with what matters most in our hometown.
Welcome back for another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage. He's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and you can find us online at santaclaritastar.com. I went to the Pow Wow at Hart Park this past weekend, and I spoke to Robin Gomez of the California Native Vote Project. She was there representing the nonpartisan organization that registers Native voters. So the race for the Los Angeles County District Attorney pits incumbent George Gascon against challenger Nathan Hochman in one of the more contentious contests on the ballot. The two participated in a debate hosted by KNX News Radio and the Los Angeles Times ahead of the November election. In sports, Hart won its third Foothill League game and its fifth game in a row playing without injured starting quarterback Jacob Paisano. And the West Ranch football team won its first Foothill League game, capitalizing on big plays from running back Luke DePerno. The Valencia football team has some new faces and has emerged as one of the top teams in the Foothill League after a slow start. The Rams lost another ugly game to the visiting Green Bay Packers. The Los Angeles Kings opened the season on the road in Buffalo against the Sabres, but they are without defenseman Drew Doughty, who will miss at least the first 4 weeks of the season with a broken ankle. And the Dodgers and San Diego Padres meet again at the National League Baseball playoffs, and it's as intense as it's ever been. So first, I'm going to talk about the Pow Wow. So I went to the Heart of the West Pow Wow on October 5th at Hart Park. There were numerous vendors and dancers at the event. I spoke to Robin Gomez of the California Native Vote Project about the Pow Wow and the mission of the organization.
All right. Can you say your name?
My name is Robin Gomez. I'm Huichol and also Chicana.
All right. So what are you doing here at the Pow Wow today?
So today I'm here as a canvasser with the California Native Vote Project, and what we're doing is just trying to get individuals educated, learn a little bit more about how to stay connected with our organization. We're a 501c3. We will never tell you how to vote, but we also want to let people know how to stay connected, how to get involved, and also learn a little bit about the measures, what's on the ballot, and how that impacts our American Indian community and Alaska Native tribes, especially within the state of California.
Yeah, all right. So what do you think of the Pow Wow today?
I think it's wonderful. I've been very fortunate enough in the past to be here. Last year was pouring rain, so the heat is nice, but it's such a wonderful way to connect and also to learn a little bit more about the native lands that we stand on, and especially learn about the Fernandinian, Tatavia, and Mission Band of Indians.
All right. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
So George Gascon and challenger Nathan Hochman are running for Los Angeles County District Attorney. Gascon is the incumbent and finishing his first term as District Attorney. Hochman is a federal prosecutor, former U.S. Assistant Attorney General, and the president of the LA Ethics Commission. Gascon was elected in 2020 and immediately implemented a series of progressive policies that include not prosecuting juveniles as adults, not seeking death penalty sentences, and limiting sentences of those convicted of using guns or having ties to gangs. Hochman says Gascon's policies are soft on crime and are contributing to the rise in violent crime and thefts in LA County. But the crime data does not actually support those claims. According to the California Department of Justice, violent crime is up about 8% from 2019 to 2023 countywide, but in the city of Los Angeles, violent crime decreased by about 6%. So Captain Justin Diaz of the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station during the special a special meeting with the Santa Clarita City Council Public Safety Committee at City Hall in September, said city crime is up 3%, but county crime in the Santa Clarita Valley is down 3%. So ultimately, if we add the city and the county for the entire Santa Clarita Valley, we're up 43 crimes over the last year, Diaz told the committee. And if the rates continue at their current pace, the numbers will be about the same as they were last year, no more, no less, Diaz told the committee. Hochman said at the debate that the LA County DA's office used to be the gold standard on crime, but that is no longer the case since Gascon took over. Gascon countered, saying the LA County DA's office gold standard was being the most carceral county in the country, meaning the LA County DA's office was known for sentencing the most people to prison than any other office in the nation. So both candidates were asked about the rise in poverty, property crime, and violence in the county. Gascon said his office has been reviewing all cases brought to his office and has a 90% filing rate related to the residential burglaries. So emphasizing that suspects in such crimes are being held accountable. Hochman said those committing property crimes and violent crimes need to be punished more severely and wants federal assistance to prevent criminals from foreign countries entering the United States and Los Angeles County in particular. So there were 2 attempts to recall Gascon during his first term, but both of them failed. He has been accused of retaliating against those in the DA's office who oppose him. And as many as 20 prosecutors in the DA's office have accused Gascon of workplace retaliation. Gascon acknowledged that there are people in his office who oppose him and his policies, but he said that a majority support him. In closing statements, Gascon touted his progressive values and policies, adding that Hochman's policies would lead to mass incarceration and did not address rehabilitation and recovery. You're listening to KQRU 107.9 FM in Santa Clarita. You can listen to Santa Clarita Weekly on Saturday mornings at 9 and on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you listen to podcasts. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim, who's going to be talking about Santa Clarita Valley High School sports. Tim?
Okay, so the Hart High football team has been on a bit of a roll. Hart football team playing without starting quarterback Jacob Paisano turned to running back Zach Ragozic to carry the Hawks literally to a 35-7 win over Castaic. Hart is 3-0 in the Foothill League and is on a 5-game winning streak. Castaic dropped to 0-3 in the Foothill League and lost its 5th game of the season. Ragozic scored 3 touchdowns and rushed for 231 yards against Castaic. Sophomore Maddox Frismith, starting at quarterback for Paisano, scored 2 rushing touchdowns and had 59 yards on the ground. Hart receiver Parker Maxwell, who leads the team in catches and touchdown receptions, missed the game against Castaic with injuries too, and Nate Matta was also out for Hart with injuries. The Hart defense came up with some big plays to keep Castaic out of the end zone with 4 interceptions. Timothy Tadler had 2 of them. Monty Coleman scored the lone touchdown for Castaic on a 40-yard run. Hart plays Castaic next. Castaic faces West Ranch in its next game. Luke DePerno scored 4 touchdowns for West Ranch in their game against Saugus. The West Ranch football team erupted on offense and defense against Saugus, winning its first Foothill League game 48-24. Luke DePerno scored 4 touchdowns for West Ranch and had 283 rushing yards in the game. He added 36 receiving yards to finish with 319 total yards from scrimmage in the game. All of his touchdown runs came on big plays. He had touchdown runs of 27 yards, 40 yards, and 60 yards. His 4th touchdown came on an 80-yard run in the 4th quarter. The West Ranch defense scored twice. Connor Wiseman scored on a fumble recovery after a strip sack by Max Piccolino. Ethan Quesada added an interception return for a touchdown just before halftime. Piccolino had a hand in that one too, pressuring Saugus quarterback Jake Nuttall to make a bad pass deep in his own territory. West Ranch quarterback Blake Johnson, a transfer from Saugus High, made his first start of the season. He scored on a rushing touchdown and paced the West Ranch offense to 5 touchdown scoring drives. Saugus receiver Landon Lattimore caught a touchdown pass and had 8 catches for 80 yards. After the game, West Ranch coach Chris Varner talked about DePerno's big game and how his team won its first Foothill League game.
Defense came up with a lot of big plays tonight. One return fumble for a touchdown, interception for a touchdown. Tell me how well the defense played tonight.
Defense has actually done well for us all season. I felt tonight they came together as a team with the offense, and that was our first real complete game, I would say, all season. And just proud of them. We've had our ups and downs. We've had injuries like everyone else, so I feel good. They needed a win like this, get some momentum going forward.
Okay, Luke DePerno had a big game. I had him down for 5 touchdowns. Just big game all around. Tell me about how well he's been playing, and were you expecting a big game out of him tonight?
We always expect a big game out of Luke. He's a 3-year starter for us, been doing it since he was a sophomore, and just glad that he could have nights like this. He worked hard all offseason, done well for me 3 years, so again, he's just our go-to guy.
Okay, and then you won your first Foothill League game of the year. How does it feel to get the first win, and what's your outlook for the rest of the season?
Well, try not to look too far ahead. We needed this. We need to get that monkey off our back, Foothill League. I can't remember the last time we lost an opening game in Foothill League. It's been a while, so just get back in that win column, get back to work, give these guys a little gratitude, a little payment for how hard they're working. So it's nice to see.
Okay, and then finally, did anybody have a big game for you outside of DePerno and your defensive players? Anybody else you see had a big game?
Blake did well for being a sophomore going in there in his first game, against his former school. I thought he held his composure very nice. Defensively, Max Piccolino, he was all over the field. He has been for us. I think he's the best defensive lineman in the league, and he showed it today.
DePerno talked about building a big lead in the game and taking advantage of big holes on his touchdown runs.
Sorry, West Ranch beat Saugus 40-24 tonight, won their first Foothill League game of the season. Let's start there. Tell me about winning the first Foothill League game of the season for your team. How does that feel?
It feels great. We needed that confidence boost after last week, and it's just going to pave the way for the rest of the league. Hoping we can go 5-1.
Okay, you had a big game tonight. A lot of big TD runs on top of the 5 touchdown runs tonight. Tell me about how you got such easy runs tonight. How'd you get so many big plays tonight?
My linemen making good blocks and receivers. Receivers just when they hit that corner on the outside, I can run up the sideline. It's just I break free. Just props to my team.
Okay.
Good blocks from the linemen and receivers. That's really what got me those touchdowns.
Okay. When did you feel like this team was starting to build some momentum in this game? Was it in the second quarter, halftime? When did it start feeling like it was going in your favor?
I think it was second quarter when we got those defensive touchdowns. That really just changed the momentum of the game.
Okay, and tell me about who else played well on your team tonight. I know you had a new quarterback in and a lot of new players in key positions. Tell me who played well tonight.
Aiden Lynch and Andrew Hamilton at the receiver. They're making some good catches, giving some good yards. I think that's one of our best passing games this year. And shout out to my O-line, good blocks. And on defense, Max Piccolino is putting some good pressure on the QB, even though he's playing both ways. So props to him.
Okay, thank you.
West Ranch plays Castaic next. Saugus gets a break and has a bye. Valencia welcomes some new faces in its game against Canyon. Newcomer Nico Funes made an immediate impact on the Valencia High football team against Canyon. Funes, a transfer from Chaminade, made big plays on offense and defense, scored 2 touchdowns, and led Valencia to a 55-7 win over Canyon. He scored on a 16-yard touchdown reception, returned an interception for a touchdown, and made plays all over the field. It was the second win in a row for Valencia, which is 2-0 in the Foothill League after going 0-4 in the preseason. Canyon lost its second Foothill League game and dropped to 1-2. Valencia running back Brian Bonner scored 3 touchdowns and rushed for 116 yards. He also caught 2 passes for 23 yards. Quarterback Brady Bretthauer passed for 195 yards and 3 touchdowns. Valencia takes on Golden Valley next. Golden Valley is 1-1 in the Foothill League and was on a bye last week.
All right, so Tim, I have some questions for you. So can you talk about the injuries on the Hart football team?
Right, yeah, so Hart's missing some key players and some good key players at that. Paisano was out. He has an injured shoulder, and Coach Jake Goosen Brown said that he's not sure when Jacob will be ready to come back and play. So they're kind of taking it day by day and seeing how quickly he can build strength back up in his shoulder. But for now, he may be out another week, and that's going to be a challenge for Hart because they they did not throw the ball a lot against Castaic. They didn't need to. I mean, they have great running backs, and they had a great plan, a great strategy on the running game. But at some point, they're going to need Paisano back, and they're going to need to get the passing game up to speed again if they want to beat some of the better teams in the Foothill League and in the playoffs. The other player that they're missing that they want back soon is Parker Maxwell, and he might be the best receiver in the Foothill League and maybe one of the best receivers in Southern California. He was having a great season. He was leading the team in touchdown catches, and he was just Parker Maxwell and Jacob Paisano were a great combo. They were a great big play combo. They came up with some key touchdowns at important times during the first 6 games of the season. So having those two players out is going to it's going to make it challenging for Hart to win some of these games late in the Foothill League.
So how are the new players that transferred to Valencia mixing in with the team?
Right. Yeah. So I talked to Coach Larry Moore about this a couple weeks ago, and there were a couple players who he was excited about being eligible to play. Transfer kids from other schools who transferred into Valencia, and they had to wait to get clearance by the CIF to start playing. And one of those was Nico Funes. He's a kid from Chaminade. He's a two-way player, can play defense and offense. He can play running back, he can play receiver, he plays defensive back, and he came up with a lot of big plays. He caught a touchdown pass, he intercepted a pass for a touchdown, and he's one of those key transfers, one of those transfer kids that is going to be an important part of this Valencia team moving forward. So Valencia has some help. They have some players that they're trying to mix into the system, but they're all good players. They seem like they're good players, and they're going to make some big contributions to the team.
So Tim, what did West Ranch have to do to pull out their first Foothill League win?
Yeah, so West Ranch came out with a very balanced attack against Saugus. Luke DePerno was the big player in the game, and he was able to kind of run all over Saugus whenever he wanted to. But the defense for West Ranch came up with some big plays too, and a lot of it was started by Max Piccolino. He had a strip sack that led to a fumble and a touchdown, and he also was able to get pressure on the Saugus quarterback Jake Nuttall and just force him into making some bad decisions and just make some bad passes. One of them led to an interception return for a touchdown. So it was just a good game from West Ranch on both sides of the ball. And Chris Varner, the coach of West Ranch, said that it's encouraging. It's encouraging to see his team play well on both sides. It just wasn't all dominated by Luke DePerno and a big running game, big rushing attack on their side. It came from both sides. It came from the defense, it came from the offense, and having a new quarterback into the system too. He said it was nice to see his new quarterback just find a comfort zone early with this team.
All right, so Tim, can you talk to us about the Rams and give us some good news?
No, I don't have good news for the Rams. The Rams are struggling right now. The Rams lost. If you're right, the Rams lost to the Green Bay Packers 24-19 at SoFi Stadium and dropped to 1-4 after the first 5 games. Rams coach Sean McVay said after the game against the Packers, "This one hurts." The Rams led at halftime 13-10, but costly turnovers in the third quarter led to 2 touchdowns by the Packers. Quarterback Jordan Love guided the Packers on both scoring drives, and they took the lead and went on to win the game. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford pulled his team within 5 points late in the game, but it was too little too late. The Rams have a bye next week and a chance for some injured players to return for the next game against the Las Vegas Raiders. But one of those players is Cooper Kupp, who has missed 3 games with injuries. Receiver Puka Nacua has a chance to return after the bye week 2. He has been out since injuring his knee in the first game of the season. McVay talked about what the team and the coaches are going to focus on during the bye week.
It's done.
And Stafford talked about staying positive, even though the Rams are struggling in the first 5 games of the season.
All right, Tim. That was good news for the Packers, but not for the Rams.
No, the Rams. Yeah, the Rams are in a bad place right now.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the Dodgers. So the Dodgers and the Padres are taking playoff pressure to new levels. So the Dodgers went down 2-1 in the 5-game National League Division Series against the Padres. Both losses were filled with tense moments and controversial plays. In Game 2, the Padres blew out the Dodgers 10-2 and hit 6 home runs. The game was delayed for about 10 minutes when Dodger fans started throwing baseballs and beer cans at Padre players in the outfield. So Padres third baseman, Manny Machado, a one-time Dodger, threw a baseball at Dodgers
not happy we lost the
manager
game.
Dave
Had some
Roberts in the
opportunities,
dugout. So Padre players
didn't do enough with
taunted
them.
Dodgers fans throughout the game. But it
Get
was
away
the
for a little bit
Dodgers
and
who were
just come back,
embarrassed in
recharge,
losing
figure
to
out
the Padres
ways I can
by
get better
8
to help lead our
runs.
team
So
to
in Game 3, the
win football
Padres
games.
scored 6 runs in the second inning, an
29
inning
just in that
filled
shot
with
overlapping.
throwing
It's kind of my
errors,
main
defensive
option on that
blunders by
play,
the Dodgers, and timely hitting from the
looked like he just
Padres. It
read
all
it pretty
added
well,
up
did a nice
to
job,
a
and
6-5
I just don't put too
win
much on it.
for the Padres in Game 3. It also exposed the Dodgers' biggest weakness in the playoffs, starting pitching. So the Dodgers starter Walker Buehler gave up all 6 runs, and the Padres took a 6-1 lead. The Dodgers rallied in the third inning, loading the bases before Teoscar Hernandez hit a grand slam to cut the lead to 1 run. That was about all the offense that the Dodgers generated in Game 3. The Dodgers are facing elimination from the playoffs in Game 4 and the end to another disappointing season. So, Tim, here's some questions for you. What were the key factors that contributed to the Dodgers' losses in Games 2 and 3 against the Padres?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that went wrong in both of those games. I mean, in Game 2, I hate to say it, but it came down to starting pitching again. Jack Flaherty started the game, and he ran into trouble. He had trouble getting out of some innings, and the Padres came up with some big hits. It's kind of been the same story during the regular season between the Dodgers and Padres. The pitching isn't great for the Dodgers. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. And the Padres take advantage of it. The Padres do not have any fear when it comes to hitting against Dodger pitching. And they're playing with kind of a free attitude. They're playing with a loose attitude, and they're not afraid to take big swings against the Dodgers. And once they get the offense rolling, the Dodgers just look like they don't know how to stop it. So the Game 2, Jack Flaherty didn't have a great game. In Game 3, it was Walker Buehler. He gave up 6 runs in the second inning, and he just couldn't get out of it. He was struggling to get people out. He was making good pitches too, which is really kind of the sad part about that whole inning, is that he was making good pitches, getting ground balls, and his defense just made a lot of mistakes. Freddie Freeman made a bad play at first base, trying to get a force out at second, and Miguel Rojas made a bad decision trying to turn a double play by himself, and he just ended up with 2 runners safe on the bases at first and second, and it scored a run. So it was just bad decision after bad decision, and just a really disastrous inning for the Dodgers in Game 3. And that was the reason why the Dodgers had trouble against San Diego. The starting pitchers couldn't get anybody out, and they ran into some trouble early in the game.
All right. Well, so what are the Dodgers' chances of coming back to win the series?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for Game 4. The Dodgers they're at. I mean, going back to the starting pitching, they're out of starting pitchers. They're planning on using a bullpen game. They're gonna have an opener. They call it an opener now, with the relief pitcher starting Game 4, and just going to use the bullpen. Every pitcher they have in the bullpen to try to get through Game 4 and win it. If they lose, they're done. That's the end of their season. So they need to win Game 4 to force a Game 5 back at Dodger Stadium, and going in with no starting pitching, with having to use relievers for the whole game, and it's not a winning plan. That those type of strategies might work, in the middle of the season, but in a playoff game, you need good pitching. You need your top pitchers on the mound, and the Dodgers don't have one. The Dodgers don't have any of that right now. So we'll see. I mean, it just doesn't look good having to play a pivotal, an elimination game in the playoffs with no starting pitcher. It's just a bad recipe.
All right. So let's talk about hockey, which I don't think we've talked about here ever. So we're going to start talking about the LA Kings. So the LA Kings opened the 2024-2025 NHL season on a long road trip and without star defenseman Drew Doughty. The Kings play their first game against the Sabres and Buffalo. They have 7 road games before coming home for a game against the San Jose Sharks on October 24th. The Kings Arena, Crypto.com, is being renovated and won't be ready to open until the end of October. That means the Kings will travel to Boston, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, and Las Vegas before their first home game. To make matters worse, the Kings will be without Doughty for at least the first month of the season, and who knows, probably longer. So Doughty broke his ankle in a preseason game against the Vegas Golden Knights in September. He had surgery on the ankle and will be recovering for the next several weeks. The team said he is month to month, so he will be out at least all of October. It's our show. So tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 on Saturday mornings. You can also watch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com, wherever you listen to podcasts. So leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly Online. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9. A new voice for Santa Clarita.